Dear Dhamma friends, now we are going to have a Dhamma talk. May everyone get settled down and give the consent with 3 times sadhu sadhu sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Suriyassa bhikkhave udayato etang pubbangam etang pubbanimitang yadidang arunugang evameva ko bhikkhave sattannang bojjangganang etang pubbangam etang pubbanimitang yadidang kalyana mittatati. Dear Dhamma friends, each day we met here in this city, Allenmathiniyaramaya Purana Vihara. We took about 1 hour for the day's Dhamma talk, and for that talks we took a particular discourse as a main topic, namely the Suriya Sutta you find in Samyutta Nikaya. And the Buddha, in this particular sutta, take time to explain 7 factors of enlightenment, and before giving the body or the content of this particular sutta, he gave an example so that indicates the arising of these 7 factors of enlightenment is a function of cause and effect relationship. So therefore one has to have a precursor or preliminaries, then only these factors of enlightenment sets in. So for an example, at the daybreak, at the end of the dark period of the night, ends up with this precursor or the early signs, something like dawn. That's a clear indication the sun will arise soon. The dawn is the precursor or the early sign for the sun to arise, something like that. Whenever we enter into this spiritual path, before the Dhamma or these factors become mature, become seasoned, not only within your personality, there are some outside signs and early signs, so that the maturity happen in a balance between in and out. That is why the Buddha says, before you come into the maturity, definitely you will see the true person or noble friend outside. With that interaction, with that association only, your internal mental factors come into the maturity. So once they come into the maturity, we call factors of enlightenment. But each and every yogi understand when the mental factors mature into this level of bojjhanga or factors of enlightenment, it has to go through number of episodes or go through an evolution. Early signs of that each and every factor is ever changing and evolving, then only they become geared, they will be really advert into the final aim. So therefore, not only the person who is undergoing this process changing, but internal factors he recognizes as spiritual factors, they themselves undergoing some changes. It is very, very difficult for a person to comprehend, person to have an overall idea how it is changing. So therefore, only with the internal experience, so to say, the under the nose experience will not be sufficient. You must have external Kalyana Mitta or true person or noble friend, then only he can compare internal and external. It's a must for this seasoning, for this maturity. So therefore, unless there is a dispensation of the Buddha, only by simple meditation or individual meditation, it is hard to achieve. So it has some ethical values, not only the internal personal values. So that is why this Bojjhanga or factors of enlightenment and the meeting with a true person, Kalyana Mitra or the spiritual friend, become reciprocal each other, interdependent each other. So therefore it is already one has to understand factors of enlightenment or Bojjhanga is somewhat fairly matured enough, then only they are worth calling factors of enlightenment. But before that, definitely the beginner, the newcomer, will understand its early form and it is slowly evolving. So as far as the factors of enlightenment are concerned, it is numerically 7 in numbers. For the last 2 days, we have taken the early 2 factors, namely the mindfulness, in Pali we call sati. The second one is Dhammajiva, the inquiring mind. And the third one is the Virya Sambojjhanga or energy aspect. So they have their own relationship also. Whenever one's factors of enlightenment come into the proper shape, proper maturity, the mindfulness take the first and foremost stage, and when and where he is developing one's mindfulness with open-mindedness or choiceless awareness or evenly suspended attention, one's inquiring mind gets a larger spectrum to see all the related combinations or relationship interconnectedness of the factors. So therefore, his likings and disliking become more and more open and mature rather than narrowing and become stereotype. So kind of a opening up of new channels in one's brain, in nervous system is happening. So therefore, earlier, according to the Western science or medical science, they thought the brain or the nervous system is something hardwired circuit. At the age of 6, it stops its development, and there onward, that particular person is hard and fast personality, likings and disliking. They never thought about changing, if at all. If at all they have to change, they think it is the matter of omnipotent God. It is none of your business. You are destined to that kind of a personality, that kind of a likings and disliking. So, very difficult. But now, even the Western medical science, they understand the neuroplasticity and one's likings and disliking or personality traits or habits or samsaric karmic forces from the Eastern point of view can be changed. So this is a kind of a big new area you consider as possibility or consider as a potential when and where the mindfulness opening into the inquiring mind or to the Dhammajiva Sambojjhanga. So Dhammajiva also, whenever it before come into the Bojjhanga level, at the Satipatthana level itself it has associating the mindfulness with the clear comprehension, sati and sampajanya, and then when it is developing it come into the Mimamsa, Iddipada, that's a ways of achievement, and then represent as a Panya Indriya, Panya Bala, then only it mature, evolve into the Dhammavijaya Sambojjhanga. So the same nature, same evolution takes place in Virya also, that is the energy. So if you are to study 37 factors of enlightenment, this Virya is the most dynamic and most dialect factor. It takes 9 shapes from this basic energy to the, when it is come up to the energy aspect as a part and parcel of the noble path. So therefore, whenever you are taking this virya, different people interpret it in a different ways. Because that is the most dynamic thing and evolving thing. To give a general idea, at the beginning of your spiritual path, it demands huge amount of energy. Oh, you need physical energy. You have to strive, you have to cut through and go into the spiritual path from this sensuous pleasure, or to understand the pleasure principle and to take turn into the spiritual path. It demands so much of energy, and later when you keep on practicing, it come up with the sustenance kind of energy, keep up kind of energy. It is like a clutch balance in a vehicle. So you are not using the brake and the accelerator. You try to keep the vehicle in a dynamic position using the clutch balance, and towards more and more to the end, it uses less and less energy, but more and more wisdom. So you let it happen according to its own nature, and you develop so much of wisdom to understand the nature and the trend, and less interference. So more and more more and more wisdom, and the energy become almost automatic, or we can say things become more and more effortless. So therefore, early part is so much of energy. At the middle, it's a balance. At the end, it is something allowing to happen. So it is very difficult to put into a one formula or one shape, because it is evolving. So Westerners, they are very happy to interpret the latter part where everything letting go and let happen effortlessly. So therefore they find very difficult to believe for the mid-spiritual path they need so much of energy. That is to say, the initial energy they find difficult to apprehend, difficult to appreciate. So therefore Western books, when you are reading, it is more toward the wisdom side and less to the energy side. Instead, if you go to Asiatic teaching or Asiatic teachers, they say you need so much of regimentation, so much of self-restrainment. So therefore, they will never address to this effortless part. So therefore, whenever someone is starting to learn this energy aspect, if he is a person with hard and fast stereotype person, he will either hold into this regimentation or to this effortless path. This is the way we have to understand two extremes regarding the energy, but still one has to assimilate the medium way, the middle path, and therefore each and everyone read and appreciate this aspect of energy according to their own personality traits and the likings and disliking. So therefore, whenever you go for literature, you may find a vast array different shades and different kinds, because when you are studying the 37 factors of enlightenment, energy itself mentioned 9 times. Mindfulness is the next, it is mentioned 8 times. So therefore, energy from the beginning to the end undergoes so much of evolution. So whenever we are introducing meditation or giving a talk to beginners, usually it is given with so much of energetic aspect that is called Arambha Dhatu, that is launching effort or starting energy. So that is a natural fact. For anything to start, it needs so much of energy. For example, you are to start the engine of a car or vehicle, you must give the full amount of gas or petrol, and then only you can start. Early engine was with the crank, you have to propel and then start. Nowadays we have self-starters, and even then from this idle running, if you wish to get into the first gear, the amount of petrol, amount of fuel it is burning to 1 kilometer or 1 mile is the maximum when compared to the second gear, third gear and the top gear. So each and every time, when you stop the machine and restart, you have to undergo this kind of a heavy gears. At the heavy gears, the fuel consumption is very high. But when the momentum gathers, you can find the amount of fuel you are using for the unit distance, like a kilometer or mile, it reduces because of the early momentum. And when you go to the top gear, least amount of energy. Imagine you are stopping and starting and stopping and starting. What a wastage of energy. That is what the lay life is. Lay people, they take enough time, maybe once a week or once a month, and they try hard because they have so much of frustration, so much of tension and so much of problems. So they need, utterly need. So therefore they give full energy, and once the momentum develops, again due to this and that, they stop it, sometimes completely to the zero level and again starting. So therefore early part, not only the early part itself is consuming energy, heavy amount of fuel, you are breaking the momentum due to various other factors. So this is how it becomes double cumbersome to start with. But if you become a regular meditator, if I am to use the term the full-time meditator, then your mental mode is different, because you are in an atmosphere where your fellow beings also holding or together with precepts and ethical code, and your timetable is more to the meditation, and therefore momentum starts. Sometimes unbelievably, soon you sit, you can see the primary object, or you can see the serenity or calmness. So when it is gather the momentum, you never believe you had so much of potential. You have so much of possibilities within your mind, because it is not your personal trait, it is due to the momentum. The momentum gives such a difference, it is so unbelievable. So therefore early part you start with the zero and come up to a level, again go back to zero, again come up to a level. Likewise you have to master the early part. When it is happening, make casualties of meditators more than 90%. They give up and go. They think it is consuming only, no results. Only very little proportion go to the sustenance energy or nekkhamma dhatu virya. To go there and learn the clutch balance, it is a different story. It is a very adventurous thing, how to balance the energy. So whenever you go there, that is the area there you must have the association with the true friend, true person and the spiritual friend, and they are not to fall back to the zero level, some or the other sustain this yogic life, sustain this timetable and keep up with, not only by your striving, but you must have fair amount of theoretical understanding and you must have good association, then only you can keep the flame burning, and that area you need, I would say, the canonical literature is basically for that. Very little amount to the beginners, but once you come up to the sustenance levels, you have so much of stories, so much of theories, how to maintain this yogic life. And towards the latter part, everything happening due to the momentum. So therefore energy, the Buddha himself divided into 3 levels: Arambha Dhatu, Nekkhamma Dhatu, Parakkama Dhatu. Arambha Dhatu is the launching effort or initial energy, and then sustenance and keeping up. At the last part is fulfilling energy. So these 3 appear 3 different things. Of course, they all are different modes, different shapes of energy, but a very big difference. So the best example Pandita Sayadaw gave is the Saturn 5 rocket, which is helping for the Apollo 11, Apollo 12, and 13 kind of a journey to the moon. And he takes, it's a technological advanced kind of example. He says to get the rocket, which is maybe 300 meters or more height, and so much of tons of weight, and to raise that it up to the 6 miles from the earth, it burns more than 80% of the total energy of the journey. The starting burst is almost like an earthquake. And then only with the whole energy, it raised the rocket perpendicular to the surface and going upward 7 miles. It is so slow and so much of energy, and one after the other, it is burning all the Saturn V rockets, and within that, it is burning more than 80% of the journey. So it is like, from the sensuous feeling, to understand it is a kind of addiction. We are brought up and we are cultured in this pleasure principle, and to understand, even if you get it or not, you are at the death level, you are utter failure. So therefore, to understand this sensuous pleasure, from the Westerners' point of view, the sexual pleasure, the Buddha put into a very decent word, sensual pleasure, and understanding very sensuous pleasure is something like going against the gravity. So to go into the orbit of 6 miles, it is directly perpendicular to the earth, it is raising up, it is something like getting the go away from the household life and go into the meditative life, or we can say simple renunciation. Maybe it is for a 1 day, or maybe it is for 10-day retreat, or maybe become a monk or nun. Whatever may be, that's going against the grain. It's like against the gravitational force, going perpendicular to the 90 degrees to the earth surface, directly up. It is costing so much of energy. And then more and more distance from the earth, less and less the gravitational force, and they tilt into the parallel to the earth surface. And if someone can get 6 miles per minute speed, then onward it is propelling. It is going into the orbit, need no any much of energy. So that is the point where you replace the 5 hindrances with your spiritual factors, faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and the wisdom. But they are also not much tamed. At a time you are very faithful, and times whenever the wisdom come into the majority, the faith reduces. When the faith increases, wisdom reduces. So both of them are good things, but they are fighting each other. At a time, the energy becomes too much, and then it kills concentration. When the concentration becomes too much, it kills energy. They are both good things fighting each other. And only the mindfulness is teaching you by repetitive application how much energy you have to apply, how to cope up with, keep the pace with concentration. That clutch balance is no technical writing can teach. It's only by trial and error to understand how to maintain, how to balance this energy and the concentration, how to balance the faith and the wisdom. Not a single person is at harmony. It's always going up and down. So therefore, the balancing, since there are no much of literature or written knowledge, book knowledge, by doing trial and error only you have to understand. And for example, when you are renunciate from your sensuous world, you are not are not going to entertain visual object with your eye, and different sounds with your ear, and different smells with your nose, different taste with your tongue, and different comfort and luxuries from your body, and different pet ideas in your mind. So you try to sit cross-legged, close your eyes, go to a silent place, don't entertain smells and taste, and try to understand or try to focus or try to adverse to your very sitting body or any corporeal or metabolic function, something like the in-breath and out-breath. So the mind naturally never goes into such situation or never happy. So therefore you have to apply again and again mind to the in-breath and out-breath or to your bodily posture. That is called applying thought. If it is not there, mind is naturally goes past and the future, other people and other places. So there you have to understand, even though you renunciate, even though you wish to be away with the sensuous pleasure, but it is not easy, unless otherwise you exert so much of energy. There are still two things I would like to present. You can try or you can strive. As far as you are changing the meditation masters, as far as you are changing your meditation object, as far as you are changing your meditation centers, you are still trying. You don't know which one is your most profitable thing. So it's an utter waste of time. It is like the sowing your good seeds on just a bare rock. They never get germinate because you don't know who is your meditation master, what is my meditation center, what is my primary object. You still not try, you do not know. So much so it is called trying. And once imagine you selected, this is what I am going to try. This is my primary object. And this is the teacher I am going to apply or use. And then you are no more trying, you are striving. You are investing, your experience is getting counted, accumulated. So that is how you apply to the breath or to the body, that is called Kayanupassana. More and more you apply, you learn little by little. Proportionate to the energy you are applying, you become little by little, familiarize your breath or the sitting posture. When it is happening, more and more you note more and more you chase behind it, the in-breath and out-breath, or the body, less and less the concentration. But more due to the familiarity by seasoning, one day you will understand that you can know much of noting, but instead you may see, you can still be more with the in-breath and out-breath face to face, more with the bodily posture face to face, and less energy it needs. So how much noting you should do, and how much concentration it is happening, the energy and concentration going to weigh against each other. So it takes long time for someone to understand how much you must note, when to stop it. And whenever again the agitation start, again you have to start like a beginner. Again you start noting, and again at a time you have to stop it. Likewise, the applying thought, you have to do trial and error, and one day you will understand, till you develop certain amount of maturity, certain amount of familiarity, certain amount of face-to-face, again and again you have to apply like a beginner. But when and where it develops certain amount of familiarity, you learn the art, observe the object more and more with less and less noting. So that area is like a clutch balance, and later you may find completely without any noting, you can observe the object, but even then you have to get as much as possible shapes, the manners, the natural characteristics of that object. Then only you are getting more and more close, more and more proximate, more and more related to the object. That means observed object and observing mind become closer and closer. When it is happening, less and less noting, but more and more inquiring mind, understanding, the Pandita Sayadaw says, that is the way you suck the sap of the object. You learn it, you go through it, and observe all the individual characteristics, shapes, manners, and ultimately you may find, once it come up to the maturity, without noting, even without chasing behind, you know exactly what is the difference between the in-breath noting, in-breath and out-breath. At the beginning you have to advert, at the beginning you have to train the mind, and later you may find, once the development, once the skillfulness develop, not only you can observe the in-breath versus out-breath, in-breath to in-breath changes also taking place. The evolution from long in-breath becomes short in-breath, long out-breath becomes short out-breath, like there are some evolution. So that discrimination knowledge is a kind of a new window opening to your brain. Instead of superficial floating of the mind, it learns how to penetrate whatever may be object. And when it is happening, noting is not that you are regimenting or chasing, it is automatically happening. And the observing of the mind, the touch of the mind, the sap of the object, learn, your mind is seasoned, go more and more. At that time, the mind and the observed object almost like touch each other like a clutch plate. Ultimately, both of them are going to rotate in the same speed. So when it is happening, you see, you can feel meditation become more and more effortless, but your mind is not lethargic, mind is very diligent. So therefore you can tell not only the features of the object, shapes and the manner, its evolution, that specifically the manner, how from one shape to others it is evolving chronologically against time. So whenever it happens, you see, when the mind mobilized, come up to a certain maturity, each and every object you see, they are fast changing. So you take the different shapes and the different manners of the object as your progress of meditation, but still you are fail to understand not only the object is changing, the observing very mind is undergoing a change. So therefore, if you hard and fast holding into your old views and personality and egotistic idea, you may find that very holding disturb this growth. So therefore, not only the object, whenever the object is about to change, very close, very immediate, then you may see your mind also undergo so much of evolution. So letting go of that area, unless otherwise you have association with the noble friend, you have a good association, definitely your internal and external factor will be a hindrance. So therefore, openness, choicelessness, evenly suspended attention, non-reaction, unassuming nature, it is not very common in the normal world. Only through the true friend or noble friend or spiritual friend, you can see that, you can grasp this idea. So therefore, association with the noble friends at that time is very important. So if I am to give a example, if a girl is growing in a household life, whenever she attended to her age, she must not go astray here and there. She must be under the surveillance of the mature people. Imagine soon after the puberty, if she is going to the males, Purusantara, that will be the devastation. According to the values what we have in the Asiatic countries. So therefore, whenever that maturity happens, there should have a kind of a surveillance. That is what we call the family life and cultural traits in our life. Likewise, if you do not have that protection and you're going to become exposed, it is not much welcome in a cultured society. So likewise, whenever your energy become very close and dynamic with the primary object, if you are to let loose your egotistic peg or your conceit or your desire for the pleasure principle, you can't get that example for the man from the street. So you have to have association with the good friends, and that is very, very rare. So therefore you can't get enlightened individually. You must have kind of a relationship. When it is happening, even though it appears like against the grain, you will slowly expand your scope. When the object is changing shape and the manner, not only that your relationship with your primary object by the proximity changes, your relationship with the secondary object, distractions, also undergoing some changes. And not only in the sitting meditation, in the walking meditation, you do intentional work, you keep your eyes open, and outside other things are there, but still you know where to look into. What is to be looked into, let other things let loose, little bit of variables, and how to maintain. When you go to the day-to-day activities, nothing fixed, everything changed, but it is like riding a wave. Where to keep your attention, it is you don't find in the books. You can't assimilate yourself by just thinking. By association of the noble friends only you can understand. And it's a kind of a harmony. When and where you become aware of this clutch balance, you also become a noble friend. You also become a spiritual man. You can see you become a role model for someone also. So therefore, the transaction is going to take place. Then you feel like a family member, or you feel like you are in a net. You're also gaining from the advanced yogis, and without any miserliness or any kind of thing, you are sharing with others also. So that is also very, very important when you are getting more and more association and frequency, familiarity with the object. If someone is going to make you this idea, you must generously share with them, but not to show off, not to brag yourself, but you are giving only to the genuine people. If the transaction is not happening, your knowledge is partial or paralyzed. So it must be a chain action. You are gaining from the advanced yogis and you become a role model to the juniors. And there you must carefully listen, you must carefully understand the newcomers' viewpoints, and you can see they are so ignorant. They never know, but even then, that was the case in you also a few years before. So therefore you have no rights to look down or put them down, but instead you have to understand this is the way. When it is going against the grain, it is important to have the good relationship, good association. So therefore, listening to the beginners, it appears like very boring. It appears very same question, again and again asking. But you can see how much you are tolerant to that kind of thing, and how much you can relate it to your past experience. Then you find the name, the term Sasana. Sasana is a message. We get the message after 2,600 years because of the intermediate teachers or good friends or noble people. They do it as a respect to the Sasana, but never expect any gain by giving it. So this is how it differs from the business world. Business world is going by the supply and demand theory, but here it is going with a different kind of a way. So therefore, more and more you feel what does it mean by the spiritual life. Therefore, you have to have the forerunners, advanced yogis, as well as you must have other people, those who are happy to strive through, but you have occasionally helped them in a different ways. You become a kind of a mentor, and that is how you become engaged. So therefore, energy, the way it is evolving, it is not only changing your timetable in the sitting and walking, your totality, your whole personality is changing. So it is very difficult to say you are going to reach a target, because your target is evolving. All the other objects in the world, projects in the world, you have a fixed target, you are going to go there. But in this case, the very target you fixed also evolving. So therefore you appear like a volatile, but still within that such a volatile thing, the Buddha put up the 7 factors of enlightenment and 8 noble paths. So therefore kind of a structure is there. They are not easy to digest to the academic or literature or book knowledge. By your practicing only you will understand. By applying pragmatically to your fellow beings, fellow meditators, and learning and getting the idea from the advanced yogis and keeping the machine dynamic or flame burning, then it is a very living thing rather than the theoretical thing or philosophical thing. So therefore you can understand it is so lucrative, it is so attractive. Some people completely put it into a literal understanding and still they are happy. Some people are philosophizing, still they are not happy, but they have no goal. There is no emancipation, but only the yogi practicing, they must have literal understanding, they must have philosophical skillfulness, but applying, and then with respect to the role model, you can see the advancement. So therefore, I don't think the aspect of energy, the virya, can be covered within 1 hour. So therefore, I thought of taking this to the next day also. From the point today we are going to stop it. So most of the individuals in the audience, are not beginners, some there may be. So therefore, each and every person must understand how to balance at the middle area the energy at the concentration. So that is very important, and don't look down concentration, it is a must. But it always must go hand in hand with the energy, and to have the balance, internally you must have the mindfulness as your mirror. Externally, you must have the noble friend as your mirror. If there is no advanced noble friend, you have to use your fellow meditators as a mirror. So therefore, they are showing, they are indicating some kind of a reflection. You must be very sharp to get their reflection and use only the constructive part, leave aside the destructive part, and then you may see it's a dynamic process. And when that happens, your contribution to the sasana, to the message, also dynamic. So therefore, even if you do it sitting in a very silent solitude place, the good vibration you are going to give, that is called good vibes, are dealing with the whole the subject like global warming, frustration, and environmental pollution, sound pollution, everything. So therefore, we are not belongs to the UNA, UDP, UNDP and all the global organization, but we are individual. But our contribution is much, much, much more effective than all so-called organizations. So therefore, don't think it as a personal, individual thing. Whenever and where Dhamma is taking the momentum, you naturally become a member of this global society. So please get encouraged and see in future more and more you are reaching to the effortless area. So therefore, may this talk be an encouragement for the people, those who are practicing, and secret is regular practice. So may you all be more energetic and continue your regularity or punctuality as much as possible as a respect to the Buddha, respect to the Dhamma, respect to the Sangha, and respect to your own virtues. With that remark, I would like to sum up today's talk. Thank you very much for listening. There's a question. You may use this mic, please.
Thero Saranai. I find it easy to do walking meditation now, mindful meditation, as I have something to force my mind into doing. Between brackets, I set my mind in walking meditation or thinking about Buddha's characteristics, close brackets. With regards to Anapanasati, it is difficult to set my mind on breathing as it then becomes unnatural, forceful. If I am to develop Satipatthana, should I not do Anapanasati, or if I should do it, how can I do it? Thero
If you have to listen to the basic instruction, usually at the beginning we are playing it, it says, in sitting, don't worry about the in-breath and out-breath, just see you are sitting. In walking, don't worry about the left and the right, the beginning, the middle, and then just see you are not sitting, you are walking. So that is very preliminary, and that is the beginning of Satipatthana. When and where the walking posture become familiar and symmetrical and comfortable, then breath or whatever may be, it will happen. As far as you are chasing behind, you are twisting your mind and unwanted friction in your mind. So therefore, be friendly with your body. Main thing in meditation is make yourself your best friend. So therefore, take the posture as the starting point. When and where that is there, that means when the engine is start, then you can put into the first gear, second gear, third gear, or whatever may be, but you can't start the engine in the third gear. Then it is machine will not work. So therefore do in a gradual basis, first the posture. The mention about the walking meditation, just see in walking meditation, how do you know now I am walking, but not sitting? I am walking, I am not standing. I am walking, I am not sleeping. So there is an example, there's a sign, there's an experience, there's a sensation. So after walking, go and sit and see how do you know that I am sitting, I am not walking, I am not standing, I am not sleeping or lying down. And then what is the difference? That is a very good start. There is no impotent or impossibility. So therefore, first thing first, do it in a gradual basis. I hope it will be a positive experience. So only one question available. So this will be the end of the Dhamma talk. And those who wish may take another hour for walking meditation. With that announcement, I would like to sum up the Dhamma talk hour. Thank you very much for listening.